What is up, world? It's your boy Ton, and you are listening to the Wonton Wealth Podcast. Here, I'm going to unravel anything and everything commercial real estate related. And more importantly, we're going to add abundant value. So if you're ready, buckle up your eardrums. Yo, what is up, everybody? First off, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everybody listening. With all the hectic chaos of the holidays, you're probably not going to listen to this episode nor the one next week, but whatever. Hopefully you'll listen to it at the beginning of the year. Who knows? But every year, close to the end of the year or the beginning of the new year, I do a couple things. First off, I clean my shit up. I check my net worth, and then more importantly, I write down and I figure out my goals for the next year. But my next year is a little bit different than everybody else's because I am a disciple of the 12-week year. There's a book out there literally called The 12-Week Year. If you have not read the book, fucking do it. Go to Amazon, buy it, torrent it, pirate it, I don't care. Do it. Borrow it from your friends. But if you're a cheap ass and you don't want to buy it, reach out to me. I'm pretty sure I have a PDF file of it, as well as a synopsis on the book. Probably a, 5-10 page write-up that I did with all the relevant details of the book. So just my notes that I reference every single time I need to go back to a certain book or topic. And I also have a template that I use in Excel that I use to track my weekly or daily task that you're going to learn about that comes with the book. Again, that's just what I use, but you can also use a system like Notion or make a handheld one if you want, or just write it down on a piece of paper. So whatever you choose. But for this week and next week, I'm going to dive into the 12-week year, and I'm going to help you make 2026 a fucking phenomenal year. So, all right, let's get started. What if I told you that you could hit your yearly goals in just 12 weeks? You heard that right, 12 weeks. That is roughly 3 months. Would you say that I'm full of shit? I don't know, maybe, but I'm not. I know it probably sounds like a YouTube ad or some fucking guru out there shoving shit down your throat, but stay with me. How many times have you set a New Year's resolution? And then how many times did it fall off by, call it the end of the third week of January or sometime in February? I get it. You're not alone. Life gets fucking crazy. Your motivation drops, and then your to-do list is piling up. It starts to turn into a someday list, right? I get it. That's why we're talking about the 12-week year today. It's essentially a system that replaces your bullshit annual goals with short, focused execution cycles. Think of it like 4 mini years. You're going to plan, you're going to execute, and you're going to measure your progress. After all of that, you're going to reset and do the same thing all over again. There's going to be less wishing, less 11-11s out there, less shooting stars, and there's going to be a whole lot of doing. That's what you're going to be doing. You're going to get shit done left and right. So the first part of the book is the core idea behind it. Let's get the foundation set up. Firstly, you have to shift your mindset. So in this system, we are going to redesign your mindset. We're going to redesign completely how you fucking think, just for one or two things. And the one big thing here is that your year is no longer the year that you know and love. It's no longer 52 weeks. It's no longer 365 days or 354, whatever the hell it is, with leap year, blah, blah, blah. Your year is now only 12 weeks long. You heard it right, 12 weeks. That's all you get for 1 year. That is now your new year. This works because a shorter time frame creates urgency. If you keep thinking that a year is 12 months or 52 weeks or 365 days, your inner subconscious whispers to you, you have time. And that's why you just push shit off and procrastinate and do it some other time, right? Take a look at car salesmen, for example. They just dick around all day, every day, probably for 11 months or so. And then when December hits and they actually got to start making some shit, or actually, I'll even back that up. Look at it every single month. At the end of the month, they typically are working their ass off to meet their quota or to pay their bills or whatever it is. So they consistently procrastinate until the last possible minute. So if you redesign your mind to thinking that 12 weeks is 1 year, and that's the only amount of time that you have, it essentially rewires your brain or your subconscious into thinking, fuck, every week matters now. If you lose a week, that's like losing an entire month. That's going to be heavy. It's going to hurt a lot. So each 12-week cycle is a full year. What you're going to do is you're going to set your vision. And there's a great book out there called Vivid Visions. I believe I have a copy of that as well in PDF form. So again, if you guys are looking for that, reach out to me. I know for a fact I have a synopsis on it. More than happy to send it to you. Reach out to me on IG, social media, or whatever means, and let's get the conversation started. But again, you start with a vision. Now you're going to choose roughly 1 to 3 goals. You're going to map out your weekly actions as well as daily actions, and obviously you're going to execute on it, hopefully. And then at the end of that week, even at the end of the day, you want to review your progress. You want to review how well you've done or how well you didn't do to assess yourself. Now, week 13 is essentially an off week. This is the week that you're going to take off. You're going to celebrate, hopefully celebrate, because you did such a badass job the last 12 weeks, and then you're going to reset. You're going to work on figuring out your goals for the next 12-week cycle or the next year. What you're going to notice is that you're going to have sharper focus. You're going to have more clarity because you have fewer goals. And because you're tracking everything, you have accountability to you and yourself. Because when you're tracking each and every task that you're doing on a daily and weekly basis, you're going to score yourself. And that score is going to tell you the truth behind whether or not you're slacking off or you're kicking ass. So you're holding yourself accountable. It's an honor system. Again, everything is so condensed in these 12 weeks that you're going to see things move a little bit quicker. On top of that, you're not adjusting your rights and wrongs on a quarterly basis where it could potentially be detrimental down the road. It's too long, right? Where in this system, you're adjusting yourself on a daily basis, if not a weekly basis, you're getting constant feedback from your own actions. And from that, you're able to adjust accordingly in order to achieve your goals. And obviously, when you're tracking everything, all your goals and your tactics and tasks on a weekly, daily basis, you're going to start seeing results if you actually do them. The needle is going to finally move. And you're seeing this again in a 12-week time frame versus a 12-month time frame. So that's why it's so powerful. You're going to see everything work a lot quicker. The premise, again, behind it is that if you give yourself a timeline, you can really get shit done. Versus if you give yourself a longer timeline, now you have all this time to dick around and then you push it off until the last minute and you either achieve it or you don't achieve it at the last hour. I don't know if you remember what you were doing in school, if you were a procrastinator or if you were a studious student, but typically I was very organized. However, I was always the pull an all-nighter type studier, and that did not bode well for me. Assignments were kind of the same way. Sometimes I would work on it a little bit here and there, but not until that last day hit did I truly put in all my effort to get it done. So if you put in that effort with each and every assignment or goal or task, technically you should be able to get 4 times more accomplished than what you have previously done. Again, giving yourself a certain timeline creates that urgency, and that urgency then produces those results. Whether the results are half-assed or not, I'm not sure. But if you follow this system, I guarantee you that it works because it has worked for me. When I follow this, it was one of those where I was reading, on top of this, I was also following Miracle Morning, and I was reading like 40 something, 50 books a year. I was getting so much done before even half the world was awake. And if you're tracking yourself and you're scoring yourself, I think typically it says that if you get to at least 75 or 80% of all your tasks completed, your goals should be hit. If not, I think we need to tweak something within your goals here, whether it be a tactic or the goal itself. I'm not sure. If you have problems, feel free to reach out to me. But I want to give you another example here from an annual goal to versus a 12-week goal. On an annual goal, it might be something like, I want to grow revenue this year. First off, that's a shitty ass goal because it doesn't follow the SMART format, SMART, which stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Maybe I'll do another episode on that, not sure, but that goal sucks because it's very vague. Now, on a 12-week goal scenario, it would sound something a little bit more along the lines of, I want to add $30,000 of monthly recurring revenue in 12 weeks by shipping one offer or in addition to running 8 partnership calls and publishing 10 demos. Do you see the difference there? One is very vague, and that was on the annual basis. But on the 12-week basis, it gets a little bit more granular. It tells you exactly what you're going to do, how much you're going to make, and in what time frame. It's concrete and it's schedulable. Okay, so the next section of the book talks about 3 core principles. And these 3 principles are what keeps the system honest. The first principle is, again, accountability. Now, you're not going to have a friend doing this with you. It's going to be a self-honor system. But that's actually not a bad idea. It might be nice to have somebody keeping you accountable that you talk to, like an accountability partner, once a week or something along those lines to kind of kick you in the ass a little bit. You don't want somebody who's super nice to you because they're just going to let you wiggle your way out of not doing whatever the hell you were planning on doing. And therefore, if you're half-assing it and not doing it, you're not going to ever reach your goals, right? So if you're committed, fucking do it. Again, an accountability partner is going to be super helpful. Try not to have your mom in there. Try not to have your best friend, unless your best friend is somebody who actually pushes your ass to do something. Get somebody mean, like a bully or something. Somebody that will actually hold your feet to the fire. And the accountability piece, it's not really punishment. It's just ownership for what you're doing. You have to understand that your actions will bring a certain type of result. So, if you didn't do your task that you said you were going to do, this is why you failed. Don't give excuses. Just figure out why that didn't happen. Why, when you told yourself to do one thing, that it ended up not happening. Or if you did a really good job, on the positive side, figure out, okay, what did I do so well in order to achieve my goals? Again, something along those lines of, what did you control this week? What did you do that pushed you towards your goals? Are you doing a goal? Are you doing an activity that propels you towards your goals each and every day? Then from there, ask yourself, what's the adjustment? What do I do now, right? How do I fix it? There's going to be no drama on any of this bullshit. It's just the data that you have based on what you did or didn't do and the decision that you're going to make in order to either pull out of it or stay in the same spot. The second principle is commitment. Like I've mentioned before, you act on your choices and not your feelings. If you're committed to the program, if you're committed to setting goals, if you're committing yourself to bettering yourself or doing all these tasks from a daily basis to a weekly basis, you are in. If you don't do it, that's essentially you lying to yourself, which is a lot easier than lying to somebody else. If you have somebody that you are doing things for, typically you're probably going to do a way better job than if it were yourself, because you are more likely to disappoint yourself because it's easier than to disappoint someone else. Because staring at somebody else, telling them that you fucked up or are a disappointment is a lot harder for the human brain to acknowledge than yourself. Because you can talk your way out of shit. You can talk yourself out of, oh yeah, I didn't do that because of this, but it wasn't my fault, blah, blah, blah. Again, commitment. You made smart choices when your head was clear in order to do something that is going to better yourself. Or you set a goal for whatever reason. You have to respect those choices even when your mood is in the gutter. Even when your mood is dog shit. You committed, do it. Because again, if you don't, that's you lying to yourself. And if you have an accountability partner, you're lying to them as well. The third principle is greatness in the moment. So it's not a grand gesture, it's just doing today's plan. For example, send out the proposal, do the workout, use the stairs, make the call. If you stack enough days that are like that, then the results are going to be inevitable, just like Thanos. So I want to give a quick story to you guys. It involves a strategic block. I know we're not talking about it during this episode. We'll talk about it in the next episode, but I had a week where I was just drowning. Like just a bunch of shit just hit me left and right, and I was just trying to keep my head above water, just getting shit done left and right. But by doing that, I essentially pushed off my commitments to myself. And one of those being a strategic block. If I remember correctly, I probably didn't get to, 30, 40%, maybe even 50% of my tasks that week, which was a real detriment, right? But what I do remember is that the strategic block I usually schedule every week, once a week, and I schedule it on my least busiest day, and it's typically a Sunday. Sundays are usually my day, where I'm just chilling, not thinking about shit, not working, pop on a movie, I don't know, just relax, keep my mind straight, and not think about anything, right? So again, Sundays are where I schedule my strategic blocks, and since I was just so busy, I couldn't do it on that Sunday. Somehow, that Sunday was just filled with a bunch of bullshit. I don't know what it was. I can't really remember. Maybe I had to run errands or drive people around, help somebody move. I don't fucking know. But I know that I had to move my strategic block. And so I couldn't, usually I plan it for, I think in the afternoons or so. And for some reason, my afternoon was all booked up. So in that circumstance, now that block has to be pushed to the next day. And usually Mondays are my busiest days. And it's the day where I get the most shit done as well sometimes. So everything kind of trickles down the ladder and it just fucks up the next day. So it kept doing that for a while until probably Wednesday, maybe Thursday, where I actually got a chance to do it. But what I did was I rescheduled it for myself, and I was uninterrupted at that point. I turned my computer off, I turned my phone off, left it away from me, and I actually sat down and went through my strategic block. And I think it was a 3-hour block, right? Just where it was just me, pen and paper, and my thoughts, where I was planning shit out for, call it the next quarter or the next week, things like that. But the beautiful thing within the 12-week year that I'll leave you with this week is the flexibility of it all. These are all core principles. These are all suggestions, right? These are tools that the author is giving you to put in your own tool belt. But it is very customizable to you. And it only works if you work at it. And with that, I will catch you guys again next week. And that's a wrap. If you've made it this far, that means you've listened to the entire episode. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please leave a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening from. And if you've learned something or found it useful, share it with one of your homies. And if you want to get in touch with me, I'm pretty active on IG. My handle is pro_TANH. Reach out, let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, or what you want to hear about in the future. I'm here to tailor this to you. Until next time.